further. What's really cool about tonight's presentation, WordPress has thousands of plugins, right? You go to the WordPress repository, there's thousands of plugins. WordPress can do everything. WordPress doesn't have to do everything. You're going to see 4 services tonight that do a better job than what WordPress can do. And adds more functionality, very easy for you to maintain, and all the hard work is on their server. So you don't have to deal with bandwidth, your server going down, your server company saying, hey, listen, you're using too many resources, you have to increase memory. You don't have to worry about that. Let these guys worry about it, and you just install some really cool service on your site. Okay? All right. Good?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I could have negotiated a writer or something for this. Let's see. Well, while I'm getting this up, so real quick, how many of you in the room are familiar with DISQUS, or okay, so familiar only, and then how many of you actually have it running on a site? Oh, cool. How many of you have never heard of DISQUS? All right, thanks. So I'm going to start with just a few really quick high-level slides. I don't want to. It's really just a couple, but we'll spend most of our time just honestly just answering questions and doing some lot of demoing and maybe installing a plugin on the go. But really quick, I think it's helpful, especially for those of you who are not that familiar with DISQUS, to kind of understand a couple things about what we are and what we do. By the way, my name is Ro Gupta, and I'm DISQUS actually based in San Francisco, but I'm coming to the New York office, one-man New York office, at least for now, and I deal with business development and strategy, just all kinds of different things. So again, for those of you who are not that familiar with DISQUS, or even those of you who are, quite frankly, a lot of people think of DISQUS as a comment system, which it certainly is at its core, but really it's, you can think of it in 3 components, because many times when you say the word commenting or comment system, a lot of people will think about this middle component here, which if you can't read the text, that's okay, but basically that's the core interface that's on your web page. So that's like the posting box and the thread and those things that everyone's pretty familiar with. And within that, I think there's a lot of innovation that's happened in the space, and we like to think we've been a part of that. And I think there's a lot of bells and whistles in there that can, again, as Steve was saying, sort of go way beyond what the basic WordPress commenting can do. Especially, we like to design that core interface on your page with a very forum-like feel. So DISQUS actually, when it was founded a few years ago, it was initially envisioned as forum software, and kind of we focus more on commenting, but that forum feel of a lot of peer-to-peer discussion and a high degree of familiarity and sort of loyalty and all that, I think is what we designed for. But as I said, a lot of people think commenting is just that, whereas DISQUS is a universally connected platform. It's a federated network, and so if this third box, this right-hand side box, represents the kind of the universal connectivity of DISQUS, meaning DISQUS is on hundreds of thousands of sites all over the web. The commenters can, and tens of millions of commenters have DISQUS accounts, and they can go from site to site to site with a common identity and login and activity stream and reputation that they can sort of maintain all across those sites. And then things like connecting up with the major social platforms, whether that's for authentication or for sharing comments or even for aggregating, let's say, tweets that are talking about a post on your site, but are not originating on your site. We do that as well. So this whole right-hand side here, again, represents DISQUS working as a platform to bring out, sort of de-silo the commenting from just your site and get a lot of interesting network effects out of that, which I'll talk about in a minute. Mm-hmm. And then the third component is on that left-hand side of this little chart here, which is the non-user facing side of DISQUS, the admin and moderation, which we'll probably take a look at as well. And that's also something that we spend a lot of time on. Commenting can be great, but it can also be a little bit burdensome, and so we, especially with WordPress, we think we have a really great sort of seamless integration and some great tools for you to be able to use for that. So that's, I'm going to try to whiz by so we have enough time for questions. So that's, in a nutshell, I think the platform and the product. And then just a little bit about our overall network. DISQUS is, as I said, it's now on hundreds of thousands of sites all over the web, and our reach is somewhere over 400 million monthly uniques. And so what that means is it's a top comment system plugin on WordPress. So if you are sort of poking around the plugin directory, it's a good chance you may happen upon it. And it's also the #1 commenting platform on the web, and it's actually now at least according to I think it's Punkcast, the #3 ranked network overall in the U.S. in terms of reach. And so what all that means is, besides kind of feeling good about a lot of people using it, it's actually meaningful in terms of the product, because we've designed DISQUS to be as I said before, a interconnected network, as opposed to just a set of tools for any given site. And so what happens is, when that network grows, as with any network, it becomes even more valuable, because you get more of those benefits to common login and cross-pollination across the network, and being able to tap into a bunch of commenters who are just commenting on your friend's blog, or on Read Write Web, or whatever your sort of niche is. And so, as I say, I think because of the benefits of this reach, we tend to see a lot of loyalty with DISQUS users, and by users I mean not just bloggers and publishers like you, but also commenters themselves. With a lot of commenters, maybe they're just being polite, but they tell us that they just won't comment anymore unless they can just easily sign in with their DISQUS account, and they feel like they have more ownership of it. As I said, I'll show you, because of the reach, I think we're able to connect up separate communities a lot easier, and there's all kinds of interesting network effects with things like attracting more commenters, and things around analytics, so that you can get line of sight into not just your site but other communities, etc. So let me switch into a browser, and let me actually, while I'm doing that, let me pause. Any questions or comments so far? Yeah.
You mentioned Read Write Web. Can you give a little more information on what sort of connectivity you use with that network?
With Read Write Web? Well, Read Write Web is just one out of almost 1 million sites that have installed DISQUS. So I just sort of rattled it off as one example. So let's say you're a tech blog, and a lot of your users also hang out on Read Write Web, or on VentureBeat or whatever. There's a good chance that you will get to sort of tap into that network of commenters that are already not only have used DISQUS before, but often are logged in by the time they get to your site. And that's a lot of the reasons we see a lot of uptick in participation. So that's what I sort of meant by that. What I can do really quickly is just install the actual plugin. I just have a fake dummy site, WordPress site that we can install it on. Although one of the giveaways we were going to do is we're going to give away a few premium add-ons to DISQUS, which I'll talk about in a sec, but they give you things like, actually I can show you. They give you access to certain premium extensions like analytics and real-time polling and admin logs and custom theming, etc. So for the first giveaway, if anyone is brave enough to come up and wants to install it themselves on their own site, there's a carrot there. If not, that's fine. Anyone? All right. That's fine. I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and install it. So actually, there's two ways to get to DISQUS in terms of installing it on your site. One is just go to disqus.com, and it's pretty intuitive. You should just be able to click sign up, and it's a few clicks to get to sort of set up a username and what we call a short name, which is kind of your unique identifier for your site. You can have multiple short names under your central user account. I'm not going to do that route. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually. We also have good documentation on how to do it, and in this version of the documentation, we have it starting at your WordPress admin. So I'll do that, since I think probably most people are more familiar with that. And so when you're in your WordPress admin, just go down to plugins, click on Add New, and then just type in DISQUS to search for us. and we should be the first result. And then simply, I mean, for those of you who've done plugins, it's pretty straightforward. Install now. It's installed, and then just activate it live. And then, assuming this loads, we're in business. So one of the nice things about, actually there was one step in there that I think I was able to bypass because I'm cheating a little bit. One of the things that it may ask you to do in the process is to, if you don't already have a Disqus account, so if you go into the, where it says comments and then Disqus will appear, this is where your Disqus admin dashboard will actually be embedded right into your WordPress admin, so you don't ever have to even leave, really, WordPress. In this case, I already have a login, which I've already sort of pre-registered a site for this WordPress install. But if I didn't, I could just go and I would just have to create a user account on disqus.com like I showed you before. We'll just skip that so we can save a little bit of time. But so as you can see, once I do this, it's sort of nice and integrated right into WordPress. And one of the things that, one of the other things I should say that is also a nice benefit of our WordPress plugin is the fact that things like exporting existing WordPress comments into Disqus is really easy. So right here, all I have to do is click export, and I mean, there's only I think one comment in here because it's a dummy site, so it took really quickly. If you have a lot of comments, it may take a few minutes or even a few hours, depending on how big your site is. And then similarly, syncing comments with WordPress, meaning Disqus is a hosted service, so new Disqus comments are hosted by us, but we have a really good sync with your local WordPress database, and so you can turn that on and just click that, and you should be in business. And basically, then you'll have a pretty almost not quite real time, but pretty sort of up to date, up to speed sync with Disqus and WordPress. And this also means, by the way, that it's very easy to both get in to Disqus and get out. If you ever think we stink or for whatever reason you want to get out of Disqus, it's really easy to uninstall. You'll never lose your your WordPress comments. There's a couple things that I should show you though. If some people, for whatever reason, they actually like Disqus to handle all the comments because they want to sort of clear up their own database a little bit. So there's a couple more sort of pro tips, if you will, where if you check this box right here, that actually disables that comment sync, so that then it's just Disqus hosting all the comments. And most people don't do that, but some people just for that reason will. And then there's another benefit of also the WordPress plugin, which is SEO juice. So since Disqus is actually the base implementation of Disqus is the JavaScript it includes, which is great and easy because it's just a little bit of just pasting a few lines of code in. However, a lot of people are concerned that they don't get the SEO benefit because crawlers can't read that. So the plugin actually addresses that, because not only does it sync the data up to you, but it also then renders the comments on your page so it can be crawled. But again, for whatever reason, if for some reason you want to disable that, you can check this box and it'll do that. And then a couple other benefits of the WordPress install as well, the WordPress plugin rather as well, is, and this is actually a kind of a pro feature, which is part of a pretty high-end package of ours. So maybe only a few of you in this room it'll be relevant for, but with our professional service and with our VIP service, which is for really large sites, but with our professional service, you can actually create a single sign-on integration, which what that does is with any registration system, you can integrate it with Disqus so that people who are signing into your registration system automatically get signed into Disqus. They don't have to go through any sign-in again. And that works with WordPress. In fact, it works a lot better with WordPress in that it's normally this requires a little bit of light development to do, but with the plugin, we created just these two fields right here. where if you do sign up for that Discuss Professional package, you'll get a couple keys that you can just enter in there, and it'll all be automatic then. So then, like let's say on Steve's new site, if someone had signed in through that sign-in screen, once they got down to Discuss, they'll already be signed in and ready to comment.
Works on BuddyPress?
Yeah, it should. Yeah, it works on BuddyPress. In fact, I think
We'll install it on the news site. Everyone's just they get the NYC set up.
Yeah.
I've got it installed.
Yeah, in fact, I think the Telegraph, the UK newspaper, has that BuddyPress, WordPress, Discuss, single sign-on install integrated. Yeah.
So when do you need to sync? If you put this on a new site and you're having all the, just using the Discuss comments,
Yeah.
it won't save it to the database or it will to WordPress?
No, it will. It
So
will.
when do you need to sync, or why would you need to sync it after that?
No, you actually to sync it, you don't need to do it. Sorry, you do need to do that initial thing that I showed you, which is just to press the if you want to export comments into Discuss, you press the export button, and if you want to make sure your comments are synced with WordPress, you press that sync button. But sorry, was that?
Because I have a new site.
Yeah.
I put Discuss in. There's no comment to it.
Okay.
Once it starts,
Yeah.
am I ever going to need to sync, or it's just going to be automatic?
Yeah, as long as you set that setting to sync, you don't ever have to do anything again. Yeah.
And it will save it in the WordPress database
Yes.
as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, is there an advantage to having it in the WordPress database? Could you just say, forget it, I don't want it in there, why have
You can, yeah. In fact, and if you do want to do that, you check that box. So there's a few people who say, I don't want to deal with comments, I don't want to slow down, whatever, I don't want to pay for that added, throughput or whatever. So they check that box, or maybe they have other reasons. But in most cases, people like to have that, that local copy, and also for SEO purposes, sometimes people like that as well.
So as far as the user, it's going to be seeing the exact same thing as far as comments.
Yeah, the user, it's no difference to the user.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually the other benefit is if for some reason Discuss, our data center blows up or something, the WordPress comments will just be right there, like you never had Discuss in the first place. So.
The benefit is they're your comments, right? So, the difference, one of the main issues with the Facebook commenting system is that Facebook has all your comments. If you choose to install Facebook comments on your site, and 6 months later you choose to take off Facebook comments, you have no comments. They're all gone. With Discuss, they're not taking your comments. They're allowing you to, they give you the choice. So they have your comments you should want to keep.
Right. Yeah, so like I said, we like to make it both easy to get in and get out of Discuss. So that is the basics of how you install it. And once you have it up, this is a dummy site, so I'll just go to an actual WordPress site. And it looks like I was on All Things D earlier, which is actually a WordPress VIP site, which has Discuss and single sign-on. So let me just go to this is a blog post. So this is, once you install it, this is our default theme, which, you can also customize either with, basic look and feel controls, or if you're into CSS, you can use that. And then also if you have one of our advanced packages, you can actually, there's a theme editing tool that you can actually go and do even more with. The basic, so one of the nice things about what we do is, commenting's been around for so long that it's such a familiar experience, and we can kind of take advantage of that familiarity and pack a lot beneath it. So it's not like we're trying to completely confuse users into some brand new behavior, but at the same time, a lot of basic commenting systems are, just that, very basic, and there's just a lot of low-hanging fruit, it turns out, when you can pack a lot more interaction functionality and sort of access to a network into it. So some of the things I was talking about in that chart with respect to when I say we try to design Discuss with a very forum-like feel, that has a lot to do with how we do nested, threaded conversations. So, a lot of actually commenting systems do that now, but a lot of times we see these threads go really deep. So we also add in things like contextual links. There's things like real-time updating, which these guys have enabled. So if you stuck around long enough and there's more comments coming in, it's kind of like Twitter. You'd see them and you wouldn't have to refresh the page. Things like the avatar system, kind of breeds a lot of familiarity, and you start to really get to know people and recognize them. So I won't go through every feature of this interface, but that's kind of some of the nice benefits of adding DISQUS. And then actually one of the things that I just touched upon, which is the network benefits of DISQUS. You can actually see, I guess this person's avatar, which I expanded, this is a perfect example, right? So this person looks like he likes to comment on a lot of other places, and as a user, it's nice because you can kind of own that track record, or if you're looking at someone else and you want to see who this commenter is all about, you can see where else they like to comment. You can maybe check out their Twitter link. You can actually click to their activity feed and actually see their comments or other comments that they've given thumbs ups to. And as a publisher, as I said, and as you know, the gentleman asked about Read Write Web, which is just one of the many sites that we power. It actually, in almost every case that we've measured it, at least for large sites, because I as sort of my day job, I tend to work pretty closely with the large sites that use DISQUS. Almost every time we've measured it where they've gone from something fairly basic to installing DISQUS, we almost always see substantial upticks in participation. Some of that is just because, you know, just UX and design and some of these features that I was showing you, you know, and sort of just a more Ajax-y kind of fluid feel, or just make it easier to comment. But a lot of that also has to do with the fact that there's commonality across all these sites all across the web that use DISQUS. So actually, I can go ahead and let me go ahead and log in here. I'm not going to leave it. Well, say I leave a comment here and post as, and I have all these different options, but I happen to have a DISQUS account, so I'll go ahead and post, and just so I don't confuse them, I'm going to delete that right away because I have admin rights to this. But so, you know, here I am. I'm signed into All Things D, and let's say you know, you asked about Read Write Web, so let's just go over there and let's click into the comments. And so, you know, I read this post, and then I scroll down, and then, you know, voila, you know, my avatar is right there smiling back at me, and I'm ready to go. That right there, you know, across tons and tons of sites across the web just is another reason why we tend to see lots of increases in participation. Yes?
So I should remember this, but what are the options for where you're getting the avatar from, and are you giving the user feedback? I remember the first couple of times, you know, years ago when my avatar would appear, I went, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And, you know, I've got a Google profile, and then I'm in Gravatar, so, and then Facebook get pulled through, and maybe I want one but not the other.
Yeah, so for commenters, I actually had wanted to focus a little bit more on the publisher side of DISQUS, but that is a good question. For commenters, they can actually set a lot of their preferences, in fact, without even having to leave your site. So if I click on this edit profile link, assuming our connection, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's okay. So, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that you can arm your commenters with. So this is a little bit of an advanced feature where we have a thing called merging profiles, which allows people, let's say, like the Bitly blog and Talking Points memo have used our single sign-on integrations. So it recognizes that I have signed in through their registration system. So if I want to, I can merge that identity with my central DISQUS account. The commenters can also modify their profile settings. So, you know, things like my name, my display name, my website, where I live, etc. And then you asked about avatar, that's another one. And this is where you can choose which one you want to use. So, you know, I've connected up, I think I uploaded this myself, but then I've also connected up my Facebook account and my Twitter account, so I can pull those avatars if I want to as well. And then other things you can allow your commenters to do is link up all their different social accounts, and with Facebook and Twitter, they can share their comments to those platforms if they want to. They can also share, we also have our own like version of our like button for an overall, you know, sort of at the thread or story level as opposed to the comment level, which is nice because it's not just Facebook centric, it also integrates with someone's Twitter feed. And then there's other things that commenters can modify here. But getting back, and I know we're kind of running short on time. I want to make sure we have a few minutes for questions.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
Okay.
My personal favorite is the moderation.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure.
The blacklisting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So with moderation, before we even show you the go back to the dashboard. One of the nice things is if you're signed in as a moderator, you can moderate right from the thread itself. So, and you guys may be used to this from other commenting, but I have this moderate link because I'm signed in as a moderator, so I can do all these actions here, or I'll also get this little gear icon, and I can do all kinds of things without ever having to leave the page. I can even we also have a really interesting feature that a lot of our WordPress bloggers use, which is through email notifications, which you can sign up for. You can actually reply to your commenters via email, so you can just reply to the email itself if you're on your BlackBerry or you're in your Gmail. And you can also even like reply to the email with the word delete or with the word approve or with the word spam, and it'll automatically take that action. We also have an Android app for moderation. We have an iPhone app which is about to be released. So there's a lot of ways to get to that admin without having to, or a lot of ways to moderate without actually having to go to the full admin. But if you are in there, there are just a ton of different ways to control. So the moderate tab is where you can do a lot of the granular actions. The settings tab is where, as Steve was mentioning, you can manage blacklisting. So I'll skip to that. Or sorry, you can assign secondary moderators. You can toggle between pre and post moderation. You can check for links in comments if you want to pre-approve those. For image uploads, which we support, you can check for those. You can set flag thresholds, and then again, we won't have time to go through all these things, but you can do a lot of other things like set your word filters, your blacklisting by username, email address, IP address, same thing with whitelisting. And then as part of our premium packages, you also have access to an analytics dashboard, which is pretty cool. This is going to be empty because there's no data in it, but we can, oops. Sorry, I'm on the wrong account. But anyway, I know we're way long on time, so let me at least leave room for a couple more questions. Yeah.
I just installed it, but all my existing comments, I can't find them.
How many comments did you have? It may take...
It was hundreds, probably.
Yeah, so there should be a link which shows you status of your import.
I have it's up on the dashboard now.
No, but even if that's up on your dashboard, so once that's a good question because we get this a lot. Once you press that, export my comments from WordPress into DISQUS button.
That I probably didn't do.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you have to do that, and then sometimes even it takes a while if you have a bunch of comments, and there's actually a status page on our.
But that's under the DISQUS on the dashboard. Where is the export comments?
If you go to advanced and you go down here, it should be here.
See, I'm not. The advanced, I didn't see it.
On the upper right? Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
If you're running DISQUS on a non-WordPress site, and then you are migrating to WordPress, and you want to use DISQUS, are you going to be able to move the comments? And how will it track those URLs?
So good question. In the tools part of the admin, there's an import and export section, and this lets you import automatically from certain. I'm sorry, this is getting cut off for some reason, but from a number of sort of known platforms, and then also there's the ability to just export the kind of the raw XML file to import the raw XML file right into DISQUS. And if there's any issue with URLs structure, there's also a neat thing in here called the Migrate Threads subnav, which allows you to upload a URL map, or there's also a more advanced kind of a redirect crawler that you can use as well. So there's tools for that, and then if there's questions, there's documentation and support that we offer too.
And so that is all within the WordPress admin admin for Discuss?
If you install the plugin, the R admin becomes embedded in the WordPress dashboard. It's just basically an iframe thing. So yeah.
You just sort of explained, but so is there a seamless integration with Blogger? Because I actually have a client right now where we imported Blogger comments, and the comment counts doesn't match the actual comment.
Yeah, Blogger is not as friendly. I mean, as people they're really great, but in terms of as a platform, not as friendly as WordPress is. But we do have a sync that works, but there's some flaws with it. And actually, I was just talking today that we're working with the Blogger people to fix some of those issues. So I don't know what your specific thing is, but basically, Discuss works on. Actually, it should work on any platform, and even if it's just the basic JavaScript. And in terms of migrating existing data over, similarly, worst comes to worst, you can always just do the raw, export a file into XML and upload it. Now, granted, sometimes with there's formatting issues, but our format that we use is based off WordPress with WXR. So
another question: if there will be an issue that I could resolve, is there support forums?
Yeah, there's forums. There's us. There's discuss.com/support. There's our Twitter feed, and then there's advanced support options depending on what sort of version of Discuss you have. But the basics of Discuss, most of what I've showed you, is free. Always will be free, and it's really easy to kind of test out. So I encourage you to do so. So real quick, I think I'm over, right, Steve? Yeah, so the giveaway is, there's one giveaway which is for all of you guys that want it, which is where we have the next version of our WordPress plugin in beta, or just coming out of alpha really. And so anyone here who wants it, just send me an email at that address if you would. And I'm not sure if it's ready just today, but very soon, and we'll give it to you, and we'd love for you to install it. And then the other giveaway is that basically within, let's say, the next week after you install it, those of you who can provide feedback on it, whether that's bug fixes or wish list items, and I mean actionable wish list items, not like give me daily deals or something. But those of you who can provide that to us, and that would be great, and we'll pick, let's say, the top 3, and we'll give you guys a year-long free subscription to we'll give the best the professional subscription, which is actually a pretty high-powered version of Discuss, and then the next 2 we'll give the plus version. So appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Pretty cool.
That document still for
No, I don't think so. That was pretty awesome. So everything he showed you, was free right now.
everything except for that single sign-on thing and
Right.
the analytics, but yeah, pretty much
That's pretty awesome.
everything else is free. Yeah.
The blacklisting, the word restriction, it's helped me numerous times. It's really, every now and then I have a client who just emails me that he's getting bombarded with comments, spam comments. Kismet works okay, doesn't always work great, but
By
this
the
has
way,
really helped me out there.
you can also, our spam filtering is built in, and we've optimized it for Discuss, so it tends to work pretty well. But if you also want to use a Kismet, we also have the ability to add in your Kismet API on top of our own filters.
All right, next, Boss is going to talk about Zemanta. Hey guys, is anyone here familiar with Zemanta? Use Zemanta? Oh, you do? Some people do? Awesome. Great. Lovely. Okay. So, so, hi everyone, I'm Bastian. I'm a founder and CEO of Zemanta. We are based down in Soho, but the company started in Slovenia in Europe, and the whole development team is still there. But I'm here with the sales guys and marketing guys. Now, what Zemanta does is pretty simple. It helps you improve your content. It's not something you put on the website for your readers. It's something that helps you as a writer, as a blogger. It's a blogger's assistant. And I think the best way to show you what it does is to actually show you a demo. Now, imagine a professional article online will contain an image, a bunch of links to related articles, and stuff like that. Now, I've just chosen an article about the royal wedding. I'll copy paste some text and put it into a demo. Okay, let's just imagine that we just wrote this text in our WordPress CMS. I don't know what's going on.
It's a little slow.
No, I wasn't online. Right, so we have our plain text, and now we have to improve it. It's about this conductor, so we can add image in. We can link conductor's name, we can link chamber orchestra, Kate Middleton, Westminster Abbey. We can recommend related articles to some other sources about the same topic. Now, all of the content that we recommend here is free. It comes from various different sources. For instance, this picture is from Wikipedia, and it's public domain, so you can use it on your blog. The related articles come from 100,000 different feeds, from top media, other bloggers, your own blog, your own preferred sources. Whatever you want, we'll digest and recognize when a particular related article is relevant to your readers for a particular story you're working on. The links down here come from, again, Wikipedia, IMDb, MySpace, homepages of companies, Crunchbase. We're trying to cover as many content verticals as possible. I think we have some 20 different sources for these links. So the idea is, Zemanta, as you type, looks over your shoulder, understands what you're trying to say, and recommends images, links, articles that you can either use to further research a topic or enhance the actual blog post you're writing. That's in a nutshell. And then, of course, sometimes we won't find exactly what you're looking for. You can refine the query. Actually, I should switch into the dashboard. You can refine the query. Some other features I'll show you later. How you get it? It's a WordPress plugin, so you install it as a WordPress plugin under Install Plugins. Look for Zemanta, it's there. Just install it, activate. The other options, if you don't manage your own WordPress, is also browser extensions. So you can just install from our website a browser extension that will feel and work just the same. So yeah, this is how it looks like in the actual WordPress. If we put in the same text, it's analyzing, and we tried to make it blend in with WordPress as seamlessly as possible. Okay, you can refine. If you sign up for preferences, you can define your list of sources, including your Flickr profile. We'll recommend pictures from your Flickr account if they're tagged properly. And actually, one last thing is we'll also recommend tags. So for all you SEO people, you know how tagging is important. We'll just figure out the most relevant, semantically relevant tags out there, and you can just add them all with a click of a button. I really don't feel like going into more details. Ask questions. Go on.
I'm wondering, let's say you install this and you use it for 50 articles, and then you decide, okay, for whatever reason, you want to uninstall it. Are all of those articles, are the links, do they show any remnants of Zemanta code? Do all of those links stay just exactly as they are, or are things going to disappear?
Got it. We have two modes. Either full-featured Zemanta mode that adds a couple of tags into the HTML, or an XHTML compatible mode that creates links just with a plain href. Now, right now we're working in a full-featured mode, and if we take a look at the code, you can see that we're using WordPress compatible code for image, caption ID, and source. And the links themselves have an extra class that says Zemanta link. This class would be omitted if you were using a XHTML mode. So yeah, all the links stay there. There's no JavaScript. We don't publish any JavaScript in your blog post. We don't do anything dynamic with them. This plugin just helps you when you write and then leaves your blog alone.
So that looks like so he's asking if he chose to uninstall your plugin for some crazy reason. The class, the Zemanta class that's in it, it's not going to break anything. It's just going to be a class, an image class.
Yeah, exactly.
It does nothing. It won't do anything.
Okay.
So you get to keep the image.
Is it in your database? I think.
The image you keep, right? The image is the
Yeah,
Wikipedia image. The URL is the Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly.
When you bring an image, does it link to that image, or can you just bring it in to use it for like visual without having an actual link? I wouldn't want to bring people off my post to some random post that I wrote an image on. So can you just disable where it links off and just use the pictures?
No, the image is linked to the original source because we feel you should reference the original source.
You mean it's linked to, or it's pulling from?
It's both.
So can you then use your own Flickr account as the source?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have a Flickr account where I have all my stock pictures and my company stuff, I can use that.
Yeah.
So if I'm linking to my own content, it's
Correct.
not linking to someone else's site, so then you can configure it that way.
Yes.
Link to just your source.
Yeah, exactly.
Will it read, if you make one of your sources, say another WordPress blog, will it read those tags and pick up mails, posts from that blog?
Yeah. You can put in 160 of your own sources. They can all be your sites, and we'll recommend stuff between them. Sorry.
Yes. This is a very broad topic, but will this work for very niche topics?
If it doesn't, let us know and we'll fix it. We're doing our
also
best.
from the internet, right? From public domain, articles and photos. So if the topic is very niched, there might not be as much information as the web. You know what I mean?
We cover a lot of very niche topics. We know about 6 million different entities. So people, companies, events, locations, whatever. So yeah, if it doesn't work for your niche, we're very interested in improving.
Thank you.
I see that photo has a caption underneath it. Can it be displayed without the caption?
Well, you can. This is all your post. You can delete it. You can edit your post any way you want. This is some tiny MCD problems, but there we go. By default, it will be there because because you're citing the source where you got the image from. But it's up to you to decide to publish it or not.
But if it is it going to pull in photos that are basically illegal for us to be using?
No. At least we try as much as possible to only show you stuff that is public domain or Creative Commons. But we also always display the license information under the photo. You should always check. We cannot know if you're making money off your blog and cannot use CC non-commercial pictures. We'll just display the license.
If it's CC attribution, do you by default create some kind of attribution?
Yeah.
If you're building a business site as opposed to a news site, you don't really want to link to other articles and have traffic leaving your site.
You want to link to your own article.
So
right?
your source can be the rest of that website?
Yep.
The other page?
The source can be any RSS feed. So you just tell us your full RSS feed address and we'll start surfacing stuff from there.
So it's a great way to link to older posts that you already wrote and kind of...
Exactly, and discover them again for your readers. Recirculate.
Can you show us the configuration of the screen and how to do some of that stuff?
Sure.
Like kind of like isolate, let's say we want to pull from just our Flickr or just our RSS feed?
Okay, sure. Okay, I'm a bit hesitant because we're just in the process of rebuilding it and we'll launch new preferences in a week or so. But to give you an idea, this is the old ones. I'm logged in as myself, otherwise there's a simple login process. Where do you want the picture to be by default? Do you want a clean XHTML or default HTML? We'll also add the option to open in a new window in the new version. And then a bit of data about you, your location, your blog. This is for us to take your blog's feed and start recommending it to yourself. If you have Amazon affiliate ID, you can put it in because we also recommend links to Amazon, books and CDs. Flickr images, again, you just put in your Flickr screen name, that's it. They're also easy to use whether to find the screen name because it's not so straightforward on Flickr sometimes. And down here is the list of my sources. You can upload one by one or full OPML file that you can, for instance, get from your Google Reader. And then the list looks basically like this. You can remove them, you can add them, very straightforward.
Can you remove Wikipedia and things like this?
No. The feeds that you're adding all go into the related articles section, so this is here. And these other two, so for instance, if you're a blogger or on your blog you don't want to use in-text links at all, the new version coming up in a week or so, you'll be able to disable this part, or disable this part and just use the related articles, or vice versa. Right now it's just all or nothing.
If the RSS feed that you're grabbing has music or video in it,
we'll just ignore it.
You just ignore it. Okay. In the future, you might.
We would love to.
Put a player.
We would love to. I mean, if there's some description about the music and the video clip, then we'll digest the description and recommend based on that description, and recommend the link to the original source.
Will your Flickr pictures show up in the image section there, or in the related articles?
No, the Flickr images will be in the images section.
Can you bring in like stuff from like a next gen gallery? Someone has like more stuff like the next gen plugin galleries. People
No, not yet.
When you say description, you mean like a tag or just text?
Gentleman was asking about a blog, if we can recommend a blog post with a video embedded, right? Yeah. If next to the video you'd have any kind of text description of the video, that's what we'd be recommending based on.
I'm generating RSS feeds with album cover art, liner notes, artist bio. It's all in
that would work just as well. Sorry.
I noticed I just ran a post in the WordPress and on your website, and the website seems to get more in-text links to come back on the text than the WordPress. Is that just because of I'm getting more tags on the HTTP site than on the WordPress for the same text. I'm just wondering, is there a difference between the two?
I don't understand.
Like, I got a cite to an article that's called, Is Google Making Us Stupid?
Okay.
And your website finds a link to that, but when I do it in the WordPress plugin, it doesn't give me a tag for that.
It doesn't give you a tag.
I'm not getting the same number of tags in WordPress I'm getting on the internet, on your website.
Right. Well, the demo on the website is a bit tweaked so that all the JavaScript work properly. So probably limited. Are you getting less of them on the WordPress?
Yes.
Interesting. I want to look into that. Okay.
So, one question I never asked anybody. Is anybody here on WordPress.com? I never even asked that. No, everyone here has their own. You can raise your hand. Don't be embarrassed. You can be on WordPress.com. Zemanta is actually the only product we're featuring today that actually is on WordPress.com. So if you set up a blog there, you can still use Zemanta.
We launched with WordPress.com in July because we're with a bit simplified version for their user base, and it's great. I mean, no complaints so far. Only raving reviews.
So Vasa is generously given away. So those related articles that are there are pulled from, I guess, a pool of your data sources. So
yeah, big media companies and famous blogs.
Awesome. He's agreed to put your blogs in there. So I'm going to set up a contact. I'm going to set up a form on probably wpnyc.org. I'm just going to email it to you guys. You just need to go in there and I guess put your URL or feed.
Either or.
Okay. And you will be in the Zemanta. Your blog will be in the Zemanta network.
Yeah, and we'll start recommending it to our 75,000 users.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, up next we have Oliver from NRELATE. NRELATE is one of our sponsors, and they focus on related content and some pretty exciting stuff as well.
So, we're NRELATE. We have a related content plugin. Basically, the main goal of the plugin is to recirculate content and visitors within your own site using your own content, or partner content if you choose. A lot of the things I'm going to show you are options. We try to make everything up to the user to decide. So I'm going to first just start off by showing you a site that's actually using our software. This is Larry Brown Sports. It's not the Larry Brown that coaches a basketball team. But so basically this right here, similar stories you may enjoy. You can see this is an article about Rex Ryan and Kerry Road. So our software is running through all his content and finding these related links and displaying them for his visitors. So people will read an article, get to the bottom and click through, and then head over to the next article if the internet allows it. And so then it keeps showing articles. So basically right now, people using it generally, you see a click-through rate of around 5% on this, meaning that it's basically just free extra traffic on your site. So this is kind of the basic way it shows up, and this is just one example of a site using it. So I kind of wanted to dig a little bit into some of the settings and options that we have. So does everyone kind of understand the basic premise of what the plugin does? It's the NRELATE related content plugin. Very succinct, right to the point.
You search for NRELATE and relate.
Yeah, and you basically the basic install the same way that DISQUS was showing you. Yeah, you just go into the admin area in WordPress and search for NRELATE and plugins, and you can find it pretty easily. So I'm just going to take you through some of the settings. So it's kind of weird. This is the control panel for the plugin. So here you can do things like change the thumbnail size, choose between showing thumbnails or just showing text. So I've kind of set up, this is just our own blog. This is a post about a comic blogger we interviewed, and you can see it's running down here. So I'm just going to go through some of the settings and show you guys different ways you can make the plugin look. So right now we're running 120 size with 4, so you can go in and basically make this really make this a little smaller. And could show, you know, more. Okay, so I mean, basically I just set it to show more related links from the site. So now it's just, it's showing 8. I mean, you know, obviously it doesn't really look, it's not tiling, you know, as nicely as it could. I probably want to show 10. But so, based on the kind of width of your blog or your site, you can get it to fit perfectly across and get the kind of look you're going for that way. So another thing we also allow is for you to share content from your blog roll. So you basically would just set that to yes, and then it'll show related links to other sites from your own network. Like a lot of people who own 5 or 10 sites will use this and share content between all their sites. Down here you can basically set up where it shows if you want to show the top of post, bottom of post in the widget sidebar area. And then here's advertising. So we allow people to sign up for ads, and then what will happen now is it'll show one of those links becomes kind of an ad unit. So an example of that is here. This is a home remodeling site called Young House Love. And if you scroll all the way down past all their pictures, you can see, too far, that the plugin is running now, and one of these links is actually a sponsored link to an article on HGTV.com. So basically the way that works is HGTV pays to have their content displayed on sites that have that are about kind of home improvement in the NRELATE network, and then we share revenue with the sites that display the ads. And then, you know, they continue to show their own links there.
Could you repeat that last part?
Yeah, so they sorry, they continue.
The big money part?
The big what?
The money part.
Oh, the money part. Yeah. Oh, wait, money. Right. Sorry. All right. So these guys, HGTV is paying to put their content in the results of Young House Love on their site, and so we kind of make that happen, and then we share back 80% of the revenue with that blog, and we keep 20%. And that's kind of the revenue model for our plugin right now.
So the plugin's free?
Yeah, everything's free, and this is also optional. If they want to turn off ads, they could turn it off right now. They just go into their dashboard and uncheck the ads box, and then the ads stop showing up, and it's just back to 5 links from their own site. Yep.
So if you have the ads checked, it just picks ads that are relevant, and you do any selection?
Well, I mean, basically it's set up to show ads from that are contextually relevant or a default, but you could, I mean, basically, if you really didn't want to show from a certain site advertiser, we could block that too.
Yeah. You need to do a federal tax ID before you get in?
Yeah, we have a sign up form. So, I mean, everyone in this has to sign up. And once they've signed up, we start showing ads. Oops. Cool. Good. Yeah.
So how often will that ad change?
That ad changes from article to article. So there's this one. It should be a different one on this. And then also you can opt, they've opted to kind of default to always show an ad, but you can actually say only show an ad if it's relevant. So there's kind of a default setting in there too. Yeah, so here you can see this is a different one. And they're all kind of around weekend projects and DIY kind of things. But I mean, the ads is something actually, I should also say we just started testing this in the last month. So it's something that we're kind of working to mature and to get a more variety of advertising into the system. Yeah?
Is there something that tells the reader that's a sponsored link versus another link?
Yeah, I mean right here, if you can see it says sponsored on there. And then
it's actually much better. This is a bad projector, but actually you can see it pretty well.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, they're actually, this blog I should mention is very in tune with their readers, and they basically said, you know, if anyone complains or feels like, you know, they were tricked into clicking on it, that they're going to take it off. And they said everyone's been pretty positive about it. And it's just been working out pretty well. It's because, you know, we're linking to things that are relevant to this page. We're not linking to like a sign-up form. We're not linking to someone trying to sell them something. We're just linking to other content. Yep.
Can you change the way that sponsor comes up through the CSS to a different class or something?
So I could modify
Yeah, I mean,
how I want sponsored ones to look.
Yeah, right now basically it's there's this and there's you can make it kind of have an animation.
No, the entire
I'm not sure
style.
exactly.
Actually, before we go there, I know that really build the plugin, so I'm really familiar with it. The plugin has a ton of classes, CSS classes. It has its own class, but there's actually a post on the site that lists all the classes. There must be 20 classes for just those 5 thumbnails. So, and the ad is its own class. So you can, if you choose, if you want to, you can make it a black background. You can really highlight the ad if you want to.
Yeah, so I mean that's ads. I don't want to spend too much time going over ads, but if you guys want to ask me any more questions after, that'd be great. I wanted to get to the kind of more user side. One thing we just released is a style gallery, so you can choose different looks and feel to the plugin. So right now, you see it's kind of just this. This is the standard default, and so we kind of have this is a different version, and then we also allow you to do your own CSS as well. So I mean, you can see this is the same plugin, and kind of it doesn't really work for our site. It's more of kind of a fashion site style, but this is just another style for displaying related posts here. So there's one more I just want to show you really quick. This is just one that looks a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, these basically come from, a couple of these come from our users that have been modifying the CSS on their own. And we basically just said, do you mind if we kind of recreate what you've done and make it an option for everybody? So that's the kind of another way to display it. Okay. So yeah, basically those are the main kind of features in the plugin that I wanted to cover. And then I wanted to go briefly over, we have a partner site that allows everyone to kind of track their reporting. So you can see how many times the widget's being loaded, how many times it's being clicked on, and that kind of stuff. So this is just an example of a site using the plugin. It's a DJ site. So here they can basically see the click-throughs, the impressions, and the impression views. So you can see like on this day, they had 950 clicks. Yesterday was a pretty big traffic day for everybody. I guess April 25th is a big day for blogging. And, so they got 1,200 clicks. So I mean, this is all free. Basically, they can log in and track, the widget clicks and impressions from basically whenever they install. And we released this in January, so it kind of all starts from there. So
that's the traffic to just this one site?
Yeah, just on his site, just internal traffic. So these are like every time someone clicks through on the widget, it registers and displays here.
So, sorry.
Yeah, no.
So, like he's averaging so about 750 people a day are clicking on the links on his site?
I don't know if it's people, but it's clicks.
So his readership is probably significantly more than that. This is just the amount of people that are even clicking on it.
Yeah, and so the click-through rate is 6%. So 6% of the time it's loading up, it's being clicked on.
And the page views have increased 6%.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I kind of want to go over that, and then basically we started a design contest. I just showed you these styles. So we're kind of looking for people that are web designers to come up with new designs for the plugin. So this is that kind of splash page. So we're basically giving out $200 to each design that we pick for the plugin.
How much was that, sorry?
$200
$200
for each design.
More money.
And you can win all of them if you want. Yeah, it's all about money. So yeah, if anyone wants to enter, just feel free to do so.
Are you just designing the way the related links look? Is it?
Yeah, the links or kind of the hover effects, the border, all that kind of stuff. And so I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else? Neil, anything you want to add from the back? That's Neil, everybody. Yeah.
Do you have any control of what appears on like a post on the main page versus what, if you go to like the post page?
Yeah, we're working on that, and we should have the main page out in a few weeks. Right now? Yeah.
Currently only works on single posts.
Yeah, but right now it only works on single posts.
You mean you're working on like an embed code so you can stick that anywhere? Is that what you're
I was sort of saying is, when you've got like the version see more on your front page versus when you click through and see it, so perhaps you wouldn't want to see that stuff on your front page. You only want to see it if people go down to the actual page where the item is.
Yeah, right now it's only on the actual page. We will be supporting the front page as well.
Okay.
So, yep. You had a question too?
I was just wondering if there's any effect on page load times.
Page load time? It doesn't affect page load time. We actually kind of load in the background. So we allow everything else to load and then pop in afterwards. But it's actually gotten so fast that, this is my personal opinion. I'm kind of probably one of our biggest critics about page load time. It's gotten pretty fast so that you can't even really, I don't think there's much of a discernible difference to most users. But if you're measuring it, you'll probably notice it's small enough. Yeah.
So what would you say, what's the difference between this and link within? Why would anybody go with NRELATE as opposed to link within? What can you do that they can't?
Well, one thing that's different is if you'll notice the kind of type of results they give, they're not as contextually relevant. Another thing is we offer support to everything we do, pretty much 24/7. We allow people to link out to other sites that they have a network of. And we also, have advertising, which we allow people to do and share back with.
And how does, I still don't understand, how does the blog get matched up with the advertisers?
We basically have a pool of advertisers, and then we take that, it's kind of on a content level, and distribute that content to the contextually relevant sites that want to show ads.
I.e. the keywords of your site, or?
Well, basically, by the contextual matching algorithm that we use. So we basically, the same way we figure out which articles to show from within your own site, we use to figure out which advertising sponsored content to show on across the network.
And then when you put it up before, it was 4 were linked within, and the 5th one was the sponsored. Is it always going to be just one sponsored?
No, people can set to show as many as they want, and as we get more advertisers, they can basically show them mixed. They could show it just at the front, in the back. They could show anywhere from 1 to 10 links.
So it could be always sponsored?
It could be, yeah. We kind of used to try and guess what people were going to do, but now we just kind of put all the options out there and just see what people, how people use it. Yeah.
Because you also have a sidebar widget, right? Can we style the sidebar widget as well?
Yeah, I think so. Steve, if you want to help out on that one, I'm not sure.
Sidebar widget, can we style it as well?
Yeah, it's the same. It picks up. Remember, it's only for a single post and only appears once per page right now. So any style you choose is affected by wherever you show, whether it's in the widget or automatically or using the function.
And will it default when you run the update? The style?
No, it'll save all your settings.
It'll save the style.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
So this is Neil. I actually work on the backend code for a lot of this stuff, and Oliver mentioned it before, but those styles you see in the style gallery, like Oliver and I are not good at styling. Those are all community, pretty much driven styles. People have taken our CSS and really ran with it, and so even we just released this version a few weeks ago, and several people are already using. Unfortunately for us, styles we never created. So, but that design contest is how we're trying to promote, even more stuff, even more adoption around making our tool look as good as you want on your own site.
So the contest, I know you touched on it. I know a lot of people always asking me about the giveaways and stuff. This is a really good way to make money. I think we mentioned it last month. But so the idea is that you install the NRELATE plugin, you change the CSS, you make it look incredibly cool, you submit it to NRELATE, and people vote on it. And they're going to choose, I think, 10 to literally put in the plugin. Each winner will get $200. If you submit 10 and your 10 rocks and you win, then you get $2,000. Okay, so it's not just you win one time.
Yeah, and I think even more, I mean, the people, I mean, money is great and all, we all love money, but you know, the people who submitted their memes that are running kind of right now, like for no money, you know, they look at the sites that are now using their styles and they're like so happy they show their friends and stuff. So there's that prestige factor as well.
Any other questions?
What's the deadline?
When's the deadline?
The deadline is the 11th of May.
11th of May.
Can you export the CSS?
What's that?
Is there a way to export the style?
I think you can just go in and grab it and basically copy it.
If you go into the style gallery, go back to style gallery, each style has a link to the CSS. So if you find one that you say, hey, this is really cool, but I want to modify it, you can pull the CSS for the individual style and use that as your style. But you want a lot, you know, you want to really style a lot. There's different thumbnail sizes, there's ads, there's text. You can submit text as well. Actually, somebody asked in the US a really important question about circle load. And actually, I'll make a point of it. Who here, don't be embarrassed, pays less than $10 a month to host their website? Like Bluehost, GoDaddy, everybody's right? Okay. So, from my experience, you will see, sometimes you do see server load issues when you load up a lot of plugins. So, DISQUS, for instance, is a really good example of let them do all the work and your website just pulls it in. There's no database looking through comments and trying to pull them up and grab cars and all that other stuff. Let DISQUS do the work. Same thing with NRELATE. And, you know, people have always compared NRELATE to, say, YARP. YARP's really, you know, YARP's really great, right? See, when you start having a lot of posts on it, I mean, I've seen some serious lag, especially for hosting companies that are like less than $10, like Bluehost and GoDaddy. So you will see that these sites are, if they don't load fast, they're not going to be a business. And so if NRELATE doesn't load fast, no one's going to install it. If DISQUS doesn't load fast, no one's going to install it. So they need to. Any other questions?
Also a question. I know you said on the site for the web fonts, live web fonts.
Yeah.
I did that on my site, and if I did NRELATE, is that going to just naturally follow no big deal? Or?
NRELATE is, the CSS that's being loaded for NRELATE is just like any other CSS file on your site. So it has links, it has an H3 title tag, and if you style those styles on your website, NRELATE will, the NRELATE CSS will inherit those styles. Also, I think you also doing some giveaway as well?
Yeah, so basically for our giveaway, anyone who wants to take their own content and distribute it around our network will give a $10 credit to do that. So it'll be about, I don't know, 100 visitors or so to your site, if that sounds appealing.
How do they get that?
So basically you guys can just, anyone can just email me. At that address, and I'll kind of get your content in and start sending it out.
My math is correct, is that 10 cents a click through?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, thanks everybody.
Is there like any CSS style guides or whatever, or expectations? You know, like say for example, CSS2 or CSS3 is only certain browsers support it. So you know, is there guidelines to that?
Yeah, we have a style guide listed on our blog, and it's linked to from the contest and from within the plugin.
And really just want to support as many browsers and users as possible. So doing things that are only going to look good in CSS3 is probably not going to be accepted into the content. But on the pro side of this, they don't care about supporting 96. So you don't worry about that. In fact, if the user is using ID6, they will see a different style, a very basic style, and it just make things easier for everyone. Okay? So no ID6, but no CSS3. Awesome.
All right, thanks.
Great. so those first few presentations were totally awesome services that you can use for absolutely free. Okay, some of them you can make money, some of them you can pay for upgrades. This service is a little different. It does cost money, but it totally rocks. If you want an iPhone app or an Android app, not a mobile, website. We're talking a full-fledged mobile app. Then SHOUTEM is the way to go. They make it really easy. I was really impressed when they invited me to see that product. So this is Victor from SHOUTEM.
Thanks. I'm Victor from SHOUTEM. I'm the CEO of SHOUTEM. The company is originally coming from Croatia, Zagreb, but we recently moved everything here to New York and now operating all of here. So basically what we are trying to build with SHOUTEM is we want to enable anybody to build design and launch a native mobile app for iPhone and Android with no coding knowledge and almost no technical knowledge. So it should be really easy. Basically, it's the same thing. Most of you know how it was hard to build a website back in the 90s. You had to do all the coding, all the hard stuff by your own or hire really good engineers to do that, and how it was hard to manage those sites after the launch. The tools like WordPress, how they changed the way we build and manage the websites now. So we want to do the same thing for mobile apps. It basically should be really easy as launching a blog site on a blog on blogger.com. So let's say that you have a website like this, the world's only reliable news source. And you want to build a mobile app for a website like that. So the example of an app would be you want to have latest news on Pet Boy or Bigfoot, stories, videos, photos. You want to have you want to mark set up event feed with all kind of stuff like zombie spotting or whatever. You want to mark certain locations on the map, build your own points of interest, and maybe even create a whole new community around a topic like zombies, vampires, or whatever. So how can you do that? Right now, you will probably go and hire mobile developers, and that will cost a lot of money, or you can try out our tool and build this app really in a really easy way. So I'll switch to the demo now and show you how this works in practice. So basically what you would get so basically when you create a new app in our admin interface, the first thing you'll get is something like this. So I already did a graphics setup, so just to make things a little bit faster for this demo. So it's really, from that point of view, we just require five graphics for you to upload, and there is just one color that is needed, which skins all the app. We are working on a little bit more skins, so it will be a little bit more complex, but right now it's just one color. And after you're done with that, you can start adding all kind of content. So you activate these modules one by one, for example, a news feed, the icon pop up here, you can change the text, change the icon. Our importing tool will recognize the will recognize all the RSS feeds on the website and import everything that is available over there. Okay, take some time. Basically, we can import all kind of content from RSS feeds, video streams, YouTube, Vimeo streams, Flickr feeds, podcast streams, Eventbrite events, iCal links, a lot of stuff. So this is a news module. I'll also activate the places feature. What I did here is I have created, those are categories coming from the Foursquare categories of the places. So I created my own custom category, which is zombie places. And I've added, a couple of places that, zombies are, I guess, walking around, and you should be careful about going over there. events. So I've created a couple of event feeds, added few events here. Each event is connected to a exact location from the coming from the Foursquare as well. So it's geotagged. You can also, as I said, import icon link. We are adding Eventbrite support as well in next couple of weeks. And the social network feature is basically a set of features which enable your users to interact within an app, share photos, check in to Foursquare, share everything to Facebook and Twitter, the direct message between themselves and all other stuff. It's basically almost like a mini Twitter client inside this app. So let's say that I'm done setting up this app. What I can do, I can a little bit arrange these icons between those screens. I can also change the layout. I can have like a 1 row, 3 rows, 2 rows of icons. I can. We are now building a new set of icons, so you'll be able to switch from one set to another. But now I will switch to something which is really cool. This app you can really test on your phone, on iPhone, before it's launched. So you don't have to pay anything. You can really test an app. You can show it to your client or I don't know, to your boss. Ask for approval to actually buy and use this product. You're doing that in a way that you download our mobilizer app from which is available in the iTunes App Store, and use this code to launch an app. So I'll just use the iOS emulator so that you can see it on the screen. So basically, this is a mobilizer app where I log in with my credentials and the code for this app. And I can see the real app working on my phone with all the features I just set up. Okay, so I can slide between the screens. I can go read news. I can do check-in. I'm not sure where this will take me. Probably somewhere in Cupertino or whatever. It's the emulator. The geolocation is hard for it. Oh no, it's fun. That's something new. The zombie thing is right here. I can switch to a map view, see it on the map. There is also a 3D button which will pop up augmented reality view. This is available on the phone. It's not available in the emulator. So that's basically it. The wall feature. This is the social network thing. You can share it in Foursquare, Facebook, Twitter, add photos. But what is really cool for publishers and you as maybe users of our software, that all the changes. So after you are done, you just press the publish button down here, and we will take care of the publishing publishing process to the Apple iTunes account. So all those paperwork and a lot of forms that you need to fill, it's all taken care of by us, and it will be published automatically. It will still have to go through Apple approval process. Android app will be available right away, but the iPhone app will be available somewhere between 10, 15 days, 5 days, sometimes 5 days. But what is really cool that after the app is launched and available in the iTunes store, you can change some stuff. For example, I can add a new, I can, let's say, add a new feed which I will call Eastern Special. And what I can do, I can change the home image to something else. So this all happens on the fly. All the changes will be available in your app right away. So I can the Eastern Special splash screen. And now if I go back to our restart, all the changes should be available right away. Yeah. So basically what you can do, you can add new feeds, add I don't know, new content into your app, change a little bit the features after the app is launched without waiting for Apple to approve your app again. And yeah, how is this, where is WordPress in all this? So our WordPress plugin is actually pretty simple. You just activated WordPress plugin on your website, and that will expose the API for our app to actually connect to your WordPress website. And I'll show you what can be done after you do that. So if I activate the WordPress website for the WordPress plugin for Weekly World News, so the first time I imported using our import feed, it just recognized one RSS feed which was available on the website. And those RSS feeds are usually pretty hard to, they contain all kind of stuff like, tweet buttons. So we have to clean all that up on the client, which slows down the app. And also it's not all available out there in RSS feed for RSS format. So our plugin will get all the news categories and all the feeds from the app, and all that will be available now in our news module. I can add some of those categories to the home screen, and again I'll show you. It's not only like content, it also the commenting process now goes directly to a WordPress database. Users can be authorized by WordPress. They're authorized against a WordPress database, so you'll see that the commenting form will now look like a standard commenting form on the WordPress website. So basically, you can have like a closed website which will require login to your WordPress database for people to actually be able to comment and join the signing into the app. That's basically it. I'll just finish with a couple of things. I usually have one slide where I find out everything that I forget. So WordPress plugin was just approved like WordPress VIP. Apps are running on iPhone and Android. Usually people don't get it, but it's available on two platforms. Those are native apps. So why we are doing native? Because we want to provide really good, great user experience to end users. Mobile web it's great. It's much easier to launch a mobile web version of a website, but the user experience is still not on the same level, especially on the iPhone as a native app. We do all the publishing. What is maybe important for you, we are launching our affiliate program soon. So basically, anybody who is like referring customers to us will get 20% of all the purchases, plus 5%, your users get 5% of discount. There is a giveaway today. We want to give 3 months free for everybody around here, so you just get to email me or send us a tweet, and we'll give you 3 months free, or we can also introduce you to our referral program when it's ready. New stuff that is coming out end of May, June, we will have iPad app, the same user interface, the same way of building an app and launching an app to the iTunes App Store for iPad. We are adding some new features like new skins, in-app purchases, so you'll be able to have like a premium content inside the app and actually use Apple's subscription and in-app purchases features to charge for content. And this module is we call it custom lists. So basically, it will be like more generic module where we will be able to add all kinds of stuff like theme players for a football team, or I don't know, wine a seller list, of all the wines you have in your restaurant or whatever you want inside this app. So also we are working on coupon and local deals features. So basically, if you're building we have a couple of really nice local apps which are using this, which are targeting these local communities, and this is a cool feature for them to use. And that's about it. I'm ready for questions.
How much is it?
So I'll show you the pricing page. So it's starting from $29 a month. Why usually we get the question why it's not free. It can be free because of the iTunes and Apple thing. I mean, if we would, end up spamming Apple iTunes App Store with thousands of free apps, we could get blocked. So that's why we have to have some kind of price limit to actually limit the people who can use this app and make it, make those apps really good and high quality. We are thinking about maybe doing something for Android for free. But yes, again, this is like $30 a month. This is like $360 a year, which is compared to a custom developed app, which costs, I don't know, $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 really goods.
Is it one template or is it different template?
Sorry?
Is it one template or you use different templates?
Right now it's one template and we have like this one color which we are using inside the app. But right now we are working on like new skins which will be like based on 7 colors, and you'll be able to skin those. It will probably be available somewhere like beginning of summer, end of summer. But right now this is like, the home screen is basically the face of your app, and people are happy with it that they can customize that. With different icon sets, colors, and the big picture. The rest of the app is,
And the plugins, are they on Foursquare or do you have other plugins as well?
It's just Foursquare, Facebook, and Twitter. And for content management system, we support WordPress and Drupal now, working on Joomla, Ning, a couple of others.
Can one charge?
DISQUS.
Charge for the app?
Yeah, we see the problem. After we built this integration with WordPress, we saw the problem. The commenting thing. DISQUS is used on almost like 60 or 70% of the websites, the WordPress websites. So DISQUS is really on our roadmap.
Can one charge for the app?
Sorry?
Can one get money for every app for download? Can you charge for the app?
Yeah, you can submit it in the premium app, but pay that into the App Store.
Can you filter your so certain categories on your blog go to the mobile app?
Not really. All those feeds which you imported will be available under the categories link. So it's
but you can't block certain categories on your.
No, you will have to.
Surely you can get an RSS of a certain category.
So all the categories are available here, basically. But if
you can create a separate RSS for just one category.
You can do that. Yes, you can do that.
What is the criteria? I can't really see the pricing. What's the criteria for the different tiers?
We disabled some of the features in the basic plan, but usually we get like, we give people, a couple of months free or some discount or whatever. So basically they will get advanced app for a basic pricing level. It's just a number of downloads, which is limited in each pricing plan. We do plan some features like push notifications. We will launch soon, which will be available only in Advanced and Pro plan, or I don't know. Advertising will probably go in all plans. Yeah. Yes.
Once it's published to like an App Store library, what would it say as far as the company's owner or the app's owner? Would it be like SHOUTEM or would it be my company?
Yeah, so we are submitting it to our developer accounts, but we can use, if you're registered as a developer at Apple, we can use your certificate, sign up the app, and you can submit it by yourself under your account. We have that request.
And do I define like the description and the screenshots? Like, can I find out later?
We can do that for you. So basically what we can do, you can just give us, your credentials for iTunes, and we'll do it directly to your account. Or we can provide you everything and you'll do it by yourself.
If it's an e-com website,
Yeah, right. Yeah, we get a lot of questions about that, and we don't have anything available for e-commerce now. But we are thinking about maybe taking one e-commerce platform and integrating it in our product, because we get a lot of
PayPal.
yeah, or something like that.
We just tried out here, we have a feed of content from an album.
Okay.
From a label site. The albums would cover art and liner notes coming through.
Okay, I'll take a look at that later.
What does radio streaming?
The radio streaming thing is you can actually add a URL to it's a PLS file, PLS file, and it's basically this live stream from a radio station or whatever.
Like a shoutcast.
Yeah, it can be like a live feed. Yeah, and it will play in the background while you are browsing through the app, or even if you get out, it will still play in the background.
How did the mapping work? What is it that you can, right, so you have an app, what can you map?
Yeah. There is one cool thing that you can manage all your apps in one interface, which is also nice feature. So the place is basically. We are connected to Foursquare database using their API to pull the places. So you can just search and modify their places. For example, add some description to any of these locations, or you can actually create your own new locations. So here you get an editor where you can really pinpoint on the map or search for.
Can you put a link on that? I do WordPress sites for real estate companies. I'd love to have a map where I grow their listing, then link back to the post where it explains like what house they have for sale.
Yeah, you can put a link here in this info box, and it will open the web browser where you can.
It'll go from the app to the web browser to that
Yeah.
WordPress site, right? For the mobile site.
Yes. Okay. That's anything else? Cool. Thanks. Thank you very much.
All right, so let's just hang out. We can hang out here. We can network. The presenters are here. Feel free to talk to them, meet each other, have fun.